Hello Cobble Hill, Matteus Clement, your local politician again. You may have received a flyer in the mail recently. Looks something like this. I'd like to just make a quick video to try and do some fact finding to see how much of this is real. Taxes going up. Yes, taxes are going up. I outline this in several other videos on my website as well as on my Facebook page. Part of the reason that we're increasing the taxes was to help to pay for the design charrette, which was to help give a better picture of what Cobble Hill may look like, as well as make some improvements in some parks and other amenities. So they have gone up. Those tax increases are just in Cobble Hill, and that money will mainly be spent in Cobble Hill. The federal gas taxes. This flyer outlines two areas I've spent in and a question. So in terms of the $130,000 for the park, that's that big park that's right in the middle of Cobble Hill. It's been a gravel parking lot more or less for quite some time. And I thought that until we figure out what we're gonna do with it, which could be a senior center, could be a band shell, could be a lot of different things, that we might want to enjoy it as a park for a while. The federal gas tax money comes from the federal government and doesn't affect your tax rates here in the CVRD. So it was $130,000 to help bring in the soil, irrigate it, and plant the seed. And then we can enjoy a nice green park during the summer months when all of our lawns go brown. It's also going to be irrigated with Class A water from the Twin Cedar sewer system, meaning that we won't be drawing from the water table during those droughts. I think that's a big win all the way around. As far as the $50,000 to Evergreen Independent School, Evergreen just isn't a school, it's also a society. And part of their mandate is to be engaged with the community. Some of you may not know this, but they're actually open after hours of school, as well as on weekends, and during the summer months when school isn't in session. The CVRD gave them a few dollars back in the day to help build their sports court, which is open for community use. You could go there, do some floor hockey, play some games in there. It's open to the community at those times. So this will just be an upgrade to that existing agreement where the community can use this huge timber frame pavilion that matches with our heritage feel of Cobble Hill. It'll be open to the community, and I'm in discussions with Evergreen School about how we can help make it more obvious that they're open to the community after hours and during the summer. So it's actually a bit of a community contribution, just not to Evergreen School. Lastly, that point about investing in sewer and water, we have made those investments in the Twin Cedar sewer system, as well as in the Arbutus Ridge sewer system. Arbutus Ridge, their septic fields were failing. And so we contributed $175,000 worth of that gas tax money to help upgrade their system so that they can have a high enough standard to irrigate their fields with on their golf course. So we may again be able to save more of the water table from any more stress that it has. So those are places that I've already spent on sewer systems. Going to the third point about the design charrette, yes, it was $70,000. It went out to bid. Three companies bid on it, and the price came out to $70,000. And while some people may think that that's a lot of money, yes, to you and I as individual people, to the community, what this does is it augments with our official community plan to help strengthen it and give us a better idea of what heritage is to all of us, to make sure that we plan for a village that we all moved here and love. So it adds to that, and it did come out of the parks budget because quite a bit of that work is being done to help create pathways throughout the village and connecting our many green spaces that we have. A lot of people identified walking paths as a big desire, and so now we're working on what does that look like and how do we implement it. Lastly, the Cobble Hill Events Society. The Cobble Hill Events Society is not my society, and I didn't create it. It was actually done by a group of volunteers in Cobble Hill who asked me, how can we engage with the community more and have more events other than the Cobble Hill Fair? And so we sat down, figured out some ideas. I do have a background in event management, and they came together with the idea of doing music night in the park, the farmers market, photos with Santa, as well as the co-eventing with the Farmers Institute on doing the Halloween maze. And so they held over 24 events that were free, open to the community, and done by volunteers. If this would have been done by the CVRD, it would have been substantially more expensive, and it wouldn't have provided an opportunity for the community to finally volunteer for something in their own community. So yes, I have given them the grant and aid in the past. I gave them another one this year. We can think of it as a pilot. What kind of community do we want to see? Is it active, engaged? Does it have events? And during the next budget cycle, when I hold more community meetings around our budget, we can have that discussion. But right now, we can just think of it as a pilot with very little commitment. 2 last points, a little more personal than actual formal. I don't live in Cobble Hill anymore. When I started my term, I lived at 787 Hutchinson Road, and I had a farm there. And we actually grew beyond the size of the farm that we could actually have there, so we had to find another place. And so we found a nice farm on Campbell Road, which is just outside of the boundaries of Cobble Hill. My taxes would be inside of Shawnigan Lake. Even though all of my neighbors agree we're a 2-minute drive from the village core or a 20-minute walk, we would love to be inside of Cobble Hill. That's where our hearts are. That's where we do our shopping, do our events, and meet people. And so technically, I'm not inside of Cobble Hill. But legally, you don't need to be a director. I look at Sonia first now. She doesn't live inside of her area, and she does a fantastic job for her community. So yes, it's true. I don't live inside of the boundaries, but I assure you that Cobble Hill is first on my mind. Lastly, if I can kind of speak as a community member, not as your elected official, this flyer is awful. It doesn't tell people who's sending it out, what their intentions are, where they can find more information. And as I've told you, and as you can see on my website and any other information, these are half-truths and outright lies. And this doesn't seek to move the community forward. It just seeks to seed discontent and cause more problems than good. I've had people who have called me who are looking for answers, and I've given them the time, anywhere from half an hour to 45 minutes per phone call. People do want to inquire. There have been emails, and they've taken this as gospel, that it is the truth and that's it, and they're not seeking more. And I find that really tragic, because my intent is simply to grow the community. I ran on the platform of water, farms, and people, and that people part is really important. So if you have any more questions, feel free to ask me. And if it's needed, we can have a meeting about this. But I guess the question is, what kind of community do we want, and how do we build it? And I don't think this is really it. So if you have any ideas about how to build our community, please send them to me at matteusclement@gmail.com or mclement@cvrd.bc.ca. Thanks for listening.